Okay, so I'm going to make this video about, for those that are confused as to why nobody's getting arrested for the Epstein debacle. Okay, and I think I'm going to call it Bots, Clones, and Clowns, the truth about the federal government. Okay guys, so basically, let me introduce myself first, for those that are new here. I'm Christina, and I am a whistleblower. I'm currently a victim in the Epstein ring, and I have been for several years. I was thrown into a different part of the Epstein ring called the Diddy ring, which is all one and the same, all run by the federal government as well. The Diddy ring is a lot more obvious and vicious than the Epstein ring. So I can speak to kind of my experiences, but I'm also a former federal employee who attempted to blow the whistle on being trafficked myself, and in addition, of course, to try to help the other victims, and several other issues that were going on in the federal government as it relates to corruption. So I was thrown in the Diddy ring as punishment for attempting to blow the whistle and stopping them from basically killing everybody. Okay, so I see a lot of commenters wondering why the FBI won't arrest these very clearly guilty billionaires, celebrities, politicians that we see, in the released Epstein files, right? Well, there's a few different reasons. Number one, every federal employee and elected official in the country, in addition to all law enforcement agencies nationwide and judicial systems, are part of a secret society together. So they have made basically a pact or a vow or an oath to each other that they can essentially do whatever they want without consequence. Nowadays, and I don't know, I would say in the last 15 years, it has become a requirement for politicians specifically, but pretty much all federal employees to be part of this pedophilic cult, which is what the Epstein ring really is. The Epstein, we say the ring, I'm not speaking of the victims, I'm speaking of the traffickers, the guilty parties. So as like an initiation, basically, to become a politician, you have to rape children, and they have to get blackmail on you, so that they have blackmail on every single person that is an elected official, so that they will not do anything to impede the plans of the Fourth Reich, which is what the U.S. federal government is. And then, of course, you have all of their Gestapo and minions spread throughout the country in all different various positions. So that's the main reason why no one gets arrested. Every FBI agent, every member of the Department of Justice, every member of Congress, every politician, whether Democrat, Republican, or independent, state, local, federal, all involved. All involved. Every sheriff. I don't know if it's every single police officer, because the estimate that we have here is about 92% of adults in the United States are involved in some way. So it's a massive ring. It's not just, a couple of rogue billionaires that went to Jeff Epstein's island a couple times or something like that. No, it's so much more. It is ingrained in every single thing in America. Everything. Every CEO. So all businesses, essentially, are part of the Epstein ring. Hospitals as well. So, as a victim, I've been gang raped multiple times. I don't even know how many times. I lost count. I never was trying to keep track, but many times on this trafficking journey, because I'm in the Diddy ring, right? I'll get moved to another place, and like the whole town essentially will like get together and do this huge satanic gang rape party. It's a Diddy party. And so I'll be raped by like 300 people at one time, okay? I learned along the way, we're not entitled to any sort of like medical attention or anything like that. But if you attempt to get medical attention, your name is in a system as a victim. And so they know that, and they will either attempt to kill you at the hospital or call you crazy for even attempting to get medical attention and, you know, lock you up in a psych ward, basically. Hospitals all in on it. They have to be, because, you know, they see a lot of like sexual abuse of children and things like that, and they are covering it up for, you know, the traffickers, and they themselves are abusers too. So we got that, lawyers and judges, big time, everywhere, all throughout the country, also involved, also profiting off of this, also pedophiles themselves. You know, and then a lot of your everyday, they've kind of opened up these secret societies to your regular Joe Schmoes on the street. Someone in Phoenix, it used to be like, you know, like a 33rd degree Mason was like a pretty big deal. It was a pretty high ranking Mason. And I was talking to this girl, and she's telling me her boyfriend was a 33rd degree Mason, and he was like a basement dweller living at home with his mom, you know, crashed out in the basement, no job, you know, an aspiring rapper. I'm like, man, and to think like Walt Disney was a 33rd degree Mason, that's like the level it used to be, you know, and now literally any bum on the street can be a Mason, is a Mason. So, and that's primarily the secret society, Masons and Eastern Stars and Illuminati, that are involved in this horrific trafficking ring. But that's why nobody gets arrested, guys. It's because they're actually all involved. It's bad, and it really kind of like grates on my nerves, because you'll see in the comments, and again, as a victim, I had no idea it was this insane. Like, I was in Florida when I was kind of like literally pulled out of my bed, you know, in the middle of the night and trafficked. When I was working for the government, I caught the eye of some politicians who decided that they were going to buy, sell, and trade me, you know, like a commodity. In the Epstein ring. So I was in a trafficked marriage, a forced marriage initially to someone from the Biden family. And, you know, my journey just kind of has really spiraled downhill from there, truly. It took a lot to get out of that, because they're connected, very connected, and very deranged. And so, you know, I have spent the last 15 years in you know, torment. You know, there's no really other word for it. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is that that's why nobody's getting arrested. Now, going back to the title of the video, which is going to be Bots, Clones, and Clowns. So, like I said, I'm a former federal employee. I worked for the Department of Defense, and I also worked for a company called McKinsey & Company, which is actually the CIA's honeypot operation. And you can look up McKinsey, you can see what it is. It's a global consulting firm. But it's actually the CIA undercover. I also worked for several contracting companies in direct alignment with the federal government. So I worked out of Tampa, out of MacDill Air Force Base. I was a project analyst on the new CENTCOM facility, which was opened, I think, in 2012. I was also in Afghanistan as an administrator with about 250 people reporting up to me, also in 2012. I was stationed in Bagram, but I did travel around while I was there as well, attached to Special Forces on 2 contracts, the postal and the linguist contract. So I served the nation honorably for 17 years. I left my career in 2019 due to corruption, and as when I left as a CCEP, which is Certified Compliance and Ethics Professional. I'm certified in ethics and integrity and corporate compliance specifically, which is anti-bribery, anti-corruption, fraud, data privacy, other issues basically that surround corporations, publicly traded corporations, and the laws and regulations that they used to be required to adhere to in order to do business in the United States of America. That's no longer a thing, I guess. They can just literally do whatever they want because that's just how it's set up now, you know. But I was one of 2 federal employees in the last 15 years that did not get involved in any of this. No secret societies, no institutes, organizations, corporations, nothing. Okay? Because when you take an oath to the Constitution, right, you're not supposed to join any sort of clubs, groups, organizations, anything where your loyalty to that club, group, or organization would override the oath that you took to the Constitution of the United States of America. Right? So all of those federal employees that you see that are part of these secret societies are actually in violation of their oath to the Constitution. It's real bad. And this is why you're not supposed to do that, right? Now we see kind of like why that's the thing, right? Or it used to be. But the statistics that I received were in the last 15 years, there were only 2 federal employees that did not join the secret societies. Myself and one FBI agent who is my friend. He's missing, by the way. Kidnapped by the regime, you know, for trying to stop this as well, for trying to blow the whistle, you know. So, yeah. So, anyway, there were only 2 of us in the last 15 years that actually upheld our oath and actually did what we said we would do, what we promised God and the people that we would do, and that is defend the nation against terrorists, both foreign and domestic. So we did stand on that oath. Now, unfortunately, when you stand on that oath, guess what happens? The military tries to kill you. The FBI comes for you. They label you as a terrorist. The DOJ, you know, again, it's a nightmare. Actually attempting to uphold the Constitution in this country. You're not allowed to actually do that here, which I didn't know. Right, I in my stupid mind thought, oh, there's got to be others, right, that are standing behind the Constitution and their oath. But as it turns out, no, I was absolutely wrong. I didn't know. But, you know, there's a lot of kids in this country. So regardless if 92% of the adults here are involved in the Epstein ring, there's still a lot of kids, and they're actually entitled to rights and protections under the Constitution of the United States of America. So I did it for them and the victims of the Epstein ring, you know, other innocent victims. But that's who I was doing it for, really, the kids. So anyway, yeah, so myself and one other employee, he's missing. I'm in the Diddy ring. And yeah, so also they kind of replaced in the last 15 years any actual good intentioned employees, anybody that's had integrity at all, was either pushed out of their job like I was either, I mean, some people have been killed. We've seen this coming out on the news a lot as well. Arrested, things like that, okay? And then they started replacing everyone with these bots. I call them Nazi bots. But basically, there's 2 different kinds of things going on here. A lot of the FBI agents and people you see even on the TV, right, are clones. So human cloning is actually a thing, right? They didn't stop with Dolly the sheep. Nope, they kept it going, and they started creating clones of actual human beings and doing a lot of different genetic experiments and things behind the scenes. So they created kind of like this Nazi bot army that's powered by AI. Okay, so it's AI via the Neuralinks. Some of them are actual robots where they have literal animatronics inside the body, and the brain information is coming out, you know, via like a Neuralink. So there's somebody in the background talking into a microphone, and it's like making the mouth move and the hands move and all of that, making it look like a human, but it's actually a Nazi bot. So, and then you have the clowns who are actual people, right, that knew better, but just decided to do what they decided to do. right? So we have got basically the entire government is comprised of what I call bots, clones, and clowns. And that's it. That's all that's left. There's no one with integrity. No one is upholding the Constitution. No one is not profiting off the blood of innocent children. No one is not a terrorist, because actually overthrowing the Constitution, or like attempting to, would be considered terrorism. It's a terror attack on the United States of America. But the thing is, and this is what's buck wild about it, 92% of adults here are on board. This is why people are not picketing in the streets. They're not saying anything about it, and they're not doing anything about it. It's because they wanted this. They wanted to overthrow the Constitution while keeping it propped up on the website as though it's like the actual law of the land, like they're actually following these laws or upholding them. Not even close. It's just one big ditty party here in America, right? But you see that the problem that I have, and again, if you're an adult and this is the country that you wanted, okay, right? I see that, but actually you can't have that because there's kids here. You see what I mean? There's kids that can't consent to things like ditty parties, right? There's kids that are getting eaten, like actually like eaten. You know, and we'll kind of go into the cannibalism thing in a separate video, but, you know, I want to talk about the cannibalism problem that's very prevalent here in the United States as well, and kind of why that's such a prevalent, popular thing to do. But no, I mean, we have actual innocent children here and babies that are being actually like gang raped to death. And in these communities, it's actually fine to do that. Like, there's no laws I mean, there are laws. Don't get me wrong. There's published laws, but then they have this secret, unpublished law, which I refer to as das Spielbuch, right? And this is what they're actually doing and following behind the scenes all over the country. And like I said, I've been trafficked Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, West Virginia, Ohio, Chicago, Phoenix, and Tucson. Every single place is doing it. From sea to shining fucking sea. Right? It's the whole country. Right? And it's not just the police. It's not just the judges. It's not just the hospitals. It's it's everybody. The churches are involved heavily. The schools are involved heavily, right? Everybody thought that this was a great idea. Like, let's go lawless and let's profit off the blood of innocent children. Everybody thinks that this is just the best thing ever here in the United States of America, right? And again, if you're a consenting adult, you know what they should have done? They should have excommunicated themselves to like a private island, right? And left the kids behind, right? Where they could have had an eternal ditty party, a lawless dump. Because that's what they made this place into, let's be real. But, you know, they could have done that with consenting adults, right? A bunch of them, a group of them. But instead, they turned the nation into like Auschwitz for children. That was what they were calling it. And so it's become like a major concentration camp for kids. Here, that's the United States of America. And nobody's fighting back. You'll see, I'm the only one. Well, my friend from the FBI was as well, but now he's missing. So, you know, sucks, right? But yeah, no, I attempted to blow the whistle on this very much because, you know, it's kids, and I felt like somebody needed to stand up for them and protect their constitutional rights, because the police definitely aren't doing it. The military's not doing it. The Department of Justice is not doing it. The CIA, the FBI, nobody's doing that, right? Not one person. The president's not doing it. The First Lady's not doing it. Nobody's doing that, right? Nobody's standing up for the kids who are the real victims here. I am, though. I am. And that's why, you see, they all want me dead. Here in the United States of America, they would prefer that I be dead. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. But yeah, they've got me, you know, as close to death as they could probably get me. But, you know, I'm not dead. By the grace of God. By the grace of God. You know, but I am seeking asylum. So if there's any other countries that would be interested, I'm a very, I have a lot of integrity. I'm a very law-abiding citizen. I actually have a business, and I can bring that with me as well. I'm not just like a sit around on my ass and collect a government check type of person. But I do need help with my kid who's been kidnapped, and she's missing. And my friend Brett from the FBI, also kidnapped, also missing, because apparently you're not allowed to stand up for kids here, because that would like impede on their profits or their like fun. They do this for entertainment and profit, so like they don't want anybody to like cut into like their entertainment or profits here in America, because that's all that matters, right? So if you say anything about it, then they put you on like a shit list, and that's where I'm at. I'm not allowed to work. I'm not allowed to collect any sort of social benefits, no food stamps, no Medicaid, no nothing, right? That's available to everybody else. Healthcare, I'm not allowed. I'm permitted to go get healthcare. They'll try to literally kill me. It's crazy. It's happened before. What else? I'm not allowed to live inside of anywhere because I'm not allowed to have money. I'm not allowed to do anything unless the government says so. Well, it's a trafficking ring. It's not really like a government. It's more like it's just a trafficking ring at this point. That's all they're doing. It's just trafficking. That's all they're doing. That's the only productive money-making thing that they do. That's it. But yeah, I am seeking asylum. So just some things to kind of like, put out there in the universe and just hope that the right people might see them. But yeah, guys, that's why nobody's doing anything about it. So for foreign friends, if you're watching and you're wondering what's going on here in the USA, this is the truth. This is what is happening. And if you'd like to verify my credentials, have the appropriate agencies reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to give you mine so that you can verify how I got this information, why I know this, right? Because I'm a very credible witness. Like, the most credible, really. Really. I'm not making any of this up. But yeah, so that's why nobody's doing anything about it. They're just a bunch of bots, clones, and clowns. Also, all of them are Nazis. This is the Fourth Reich. So we just have to remember, that the Americans chose to be, to live out Adolf Hitler's legacy and, continue the genocide of whoever, right? Children, at this point. And that's what they do here. And that's what's been going on behind the scenes. And that's why America's in the condition that it's in. And that's why nobody's protesting against Donald Trump, because he's their Jesus. He told them they can do whatever they want and he'll save them, meaning they'll never be prosecuted. Isn't that wild? But yeah, it's a cult. And that's the problem.